The story begins in the sky, where a passenger plane is cutting through the clouds. On board is a passenger named Jack, who is so fed up with his poverty that he has decided to take his own life, hoping the insurance payout will go to his family after his death. Suddenly, the weather takes a turn for the worse. Dark clouds envelop the plane. Lightning strikes the engine, causing the aircraft to snap in two midair. The front section plummets onto a desolate, mysterious island. Little did they know that their fate was about to take a terrifying turn. Amidst the wreckage, the captain, badly injured from the crash, regains consciousness. He immediately orders the pilot to radio for help. The pilot springs into action and begins searching for the radio. While searching, he suddenly hears a sound near his feet, the noise of something being dragged. He glances down and his heart skips a beat. Lying on the ground is the fresh, shed skin of a massive snake, surrounded by huge, broken eggshells. He is still trying to process this discovery when a terrifying commotion erupts from the dark forest. The trees begin to shake as if a great calamity is approaching, and the next moment, a colossal snake emerges from the deep darkness right in front of him. Sheer terror is visible in his eyes because it had seen its eggs broken and had gone completely berserk. Before the pilot could even comprehend the situation, the snake swallowed him whole. Meanwhile, the other section of the plane had crashed onto the same mysterious island, where Jack and a few others miraculously survived. As they emerged from the wreckage, a chill ran down their spines. The island they had landed on was no ordinary one. The flora there was bizarre and terrifying, springing to life the moment they were spotted. Confused and unsettled by the sight, they decided to try and escape. Just then, Jack spotted a girl struggling to free her friend, who was trapped in the wreckage. A heavy piece of metal was about to collapse on them when Jack rushed in and saved their lives. The survivors attempted to contact a rescue team, but their efforts were in vain. There was absolutely no signal in that mysterious jungle, a realization that filled them with dread. They began to fear that their deaths were inevitable. At that moment, a man named Tim appeared. He warned them that staying put meant certain death, as the massive hostile vegetation could kill them at any time. He insisted they had to locate the front section of the plane to use its radio and summon a rescue team. Just then, he picked up a fruit to eat. The moment he tried to consume it, the fruit exploded like a bomb. Toxic acid from inside the fruit splashed onto his face, killing him instantly. Everyone was horrified to witness his agonizing death. Yet amidst the panic, one man rallied their spirits, pointing out a distant hill and suggesting that escape was possible. Smoke can be seen rising from over there. The nose of the plane must have crashed somewhere near that hill. That is why we have to reach that spot, no matter what. Just as the man stepped forward after saying this, a monstrous plant suddenly swallowed him whole while he was still alive. Everyone was terrified to the core at the sight. The sound of the man's bones snapping was heart-wrenching. Everyone realized that if they stayed there, those monstrous plants would devour them alive. Panic spread, and people began running blindly to save their lives. They were rushing about in sheer terror, but amidst the stampede, many innocent people were falling prey to those very same monstrous plants one by one. Those terrifying plants kept swallowing people whole. Amidst the ensuing panic, Jack fell to the ground and found the very insurance paper he had been looking for right in front of him. That moment, he felt death staring him in the face. Realizing he couldn't escape these monstrous plants, he stood before them without a second thought. Just as a plant was about to devour him, a young man leapt in and saved his life. Somehow, they managed to escape the plants and reach a canal. There, a man urged them to venture back into the forest to rescue the others who were still trapped. However, having narrowly escaped death, the survivors flatly refused to re-enter the woods. They knew that if they went back in, those monstrous plants would swallow them alive. Meanwhile, a man pointed toward a distant hill, insisting they had to reach it as quickly as possible. Without delay, they began making their way toward the hill. It was their last chance for survival. Holding their breath, they pressed on, navigating through massive rock formations toward their destination. They were completely unaware that a colossal entity was watching their every move with a piercing gaze. As they moved forward, two men behind the group heard a rustling sound. When one of them turned to look, something suddenly attacked and snatched him away in a flash. Seeing his companion vanish, the other man ran to alert the rest of the group, but no one believed his story. Just then, another man claimed to know where the missing person was, but before he could explain, the creature pounced on him, dragged him away, and swallowed him whole. That is when they realized that the creature swallowing everyone up was none other than a massive lizard, a sight that made their blood run cold. The monster attacked them. Somehow they managed to save their lives and turned to flee, but they were now completely trapped. Everyone scrambled to save their lives and fled in the opposite direction. However, they were completely trapped, as the entire area was the territory of these monster lizards. It wasn't just 2 or 3 of them, but an entire pack. As they were running, one of the lizards attacked a girl from behind and began dragging her into its maw. Just before it could swallow her, Jack grabbed her tightly and managed to save her from being consumed by the monster. But in the process, the monster pounced on him and seized him. It was attempting to swallow him whole when another companion suddenly dropped down from above. Now, 2 monsters were trying to devour him. Yet before they could succeed, a heavy-set man jumped down and landed right on top of the situation. Fortunately, the heavy man's intervention saved his life. Everyone scrambled to escape, but the real danger was yet to come. While crossing the rocky terrain, they ended up in a field of tall, dense grass. In the panic of the escape, they became separated from one another within the tall grass. They shouted loudly for each other, but no one could see anyone else. Thinking quickly in this dire situation, they all jumped into the air simultaneously. This allowed the separated group members to spot each other, and they managed to reunite. They thought about finding a way out, unaware that death was closing in on them. It was no longer a lizard, but a massive snake that was advancing toward them. Meanwhile, the heavy man heard a faint rustling sound, which made him nervous. The giant snake was now ensnaring them in its trap, slowly slithering closer and closer. The sound of its slithering began to instill a strange fear, and then suddenly the snake lunged at a man and dragged him away from the others, gripping him so tightly that the poor fellow couldn't move an inch. In moments, it swallowed him alive, a sight that left them all utterly terrified. They scrambled to flee for their lives, eventually taking cover behind a rock. But that massive snake wasn't about to give up so easily without satisfying its hunger. It was slowly advancing towards them. Just then, unfortunately, one of the girls made a sound, alerting the snake to their presence. Before the snake could swallow her alive, Jack, without wasting a moment, stepped right into the face of danger to draw its attention. Enraged at seeing its prey slipping away, the snake lashed out. Before it could devour him, the stout man grabbed one of the poisonous fruits and hurled it straight at another. As the fruits collided, they began to burst one after another, spilling the toxic liquid directly onto the snake's skin. The liquid was so potent that the snake writhed in agony. Ultimately, desperate to escape the pain, it was forced to flee in a panic. They still hadn't found a way out, and the darkness of night had fully set in. Terrified and surrounded by darkness, the survivors took refuge in a small nearby cave. Inside, the darkness was absolute, so an old man tried to start a fire by rubbing two stones together. His efforts were in vain, however, as the fire refused to catch. Then, he noticed the locket around Jack's neck and asked for it. After rubbing the locket for some time, finally managed to ignite a fire. The survivors sat around the flames, offering each other comfort. Yet they all shared a single fear. If they ventured outside, the monsters roaming the area would kill them. Realizing they couldn't stay in the cave indefinitely, they decided to make a run for it at daybreak. Just as they were discussing this, they heard the sound of movement outside. Hearing that sound, 3 people emerged from the cave. As soon as they stepped out, they spotted a glowing light in the distance. Everyone assumed the rescue team had arrived.